Can I ask a little question?
Cooper's thinking about, I want to get into the property market.
Great players.
It would have been Rod Stewart.
You've got to turn over some of this roster.
My chafe got so bad.
Oh, yeah. Okay. A little bit to get through here, Coops. Before we talk about everything, thoughts overall as a game, as far as state of origins and quality of the contest, what did you think?
Not great.
Really?
Not great.
I loved it. I really enjoyed the game.
The second half I enjoyed. I think the first half, like a lot of punters out there, there was not a lot of hope. And I think they, after the whole incident, which we're going to get to with Suoliti getting sent off, but I just think they completely lost their way. They took a long time to adjust to the situation, and then by the time they had the game, was too far gone.
I thought, 38-10's the scoreline. I'll talk generally here. I thought that's really no indication of the effort of New South Wales. No. Once they skipped more than 10 points clear Queensland to sort of break the spirit of New South Wales. They're working double time. But I did enjoy the game. I didn't enjoy the result, but I really admire the way that New South Wales dug in under the circumstances and what they had to endure. Right, let's talk about it then. Okay, what were the we're talking about the crucial plays and the big moments, and the most obvious ones is Joseph Suoliti's send off. Firstly, it was the right call in my opinion. It was.
Do you reckon?
And what you don't think so?
I think I heard the commentators say it. I think in a general game, he needs to go. State of origin, and I know, like in theory, from a welfare point of view, you should go, oh well, it shouldn't make a difference whether it's state of origin or a normal game. But in my opinion, I think what Joseph did was careless, but it wasn't intent to knock someone out. And although Walsh went off, they get the 18th man and Selwyn Cobbo comes on. I just think that he definitely deserved 10 of the bin, but I don't think you, especially 7 minutes into a game, I don't think you make such a big decision to send him off and basically, although they had a lot of fight in them, they were never going to win after that call.
I think it was the right call. At the end of the day, you see the force of which he hit Reece. Reece couldn't get back onto the park. I think everything that's been going on in the game, it doesn't matter whether it's grand final day, state of origin matches, or round 3 on a cold Saturday afternoon. Is you hit someone like that, it's going to be a send-off.
Yeah.
Coops, the thing about it is, with Reece coming on those sweep shapes, that's the way to defend him, by rushing outside in. But outside in defence, there's a thin margin of error.
Yeah.
And you saw that. Like, it was really close to being a really effective top-line tackle. But, of course, when you're going at that speed, if Reece lowers a little bit, you're going to get him in the head. And that's the risk you take.
And that's what, I think Fatty said that at half-time as well. He said, as a Queenslander, he said, I don't think he should have been sent off because you see Joseph drops his head and he's going to hit him in the chest, and Reece ducks down, and his act of ducking down makes him...
If you watch, though, Reece, I apologise, sorry, Joseph, for a split second there, he just takes his eyes off Reece. He's not watching him, and that's dangerous as well. And that doesn't give him... the speed at which he went outside in wasn't going to give him reaction time for Reece dropping anyway. But the fact that he was sort of blind to it added to it. But Coop, there's a couple of things. We'll talk about the effect of what happened. But firstly, one of the effects is that Suoliti, he was, in my opinion... Mate, I think he was about to have a monster game.
Oh.
When you look at his size and physicality, he is perfectly built for state of origin. His first touch of the football is just about one of the best touches the football I've seen in origin from a debutant, where he just went tap, boom, straight at Tommy Deed, and you go, wow, here we go.
Yeah, I know, it'll be easy to go, oh, get rid of him, what a horrible thing he did. But although the action was a bad action, he looks, that first 7 minutes before he got sent off, he was one of the best out there already. And I just think that whether he's going to be you keep him at centre or at wing, he's just got to be in there somewhere.
Yeah, and Cooper, look, you said it before and you were spot on. What had happened was when Joseph was sent out, I think everyone went into a bit of shock. You see Jake going, what? He couldn't believe it.
Well, it just doesn't happen. Like, you don't think a ref's going to make that big a decision, because at the end of the day, the decision's so big, the game was gone.
It will impact, no doubt about it. But the New South Wales coaching staff, you imagine how rattled they would have been up in the box.
Yeah.
And when you look back in hindsight, and they will admit it as well, there was just too slow a reaction. They were trying to work out the puzzle to work out how we're going to do this.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, they bled 2 tries.
Yeah.
That's like, we spoke before about Nico being forced to defend last year at right centre. Well, there he was again.
Yeah.
At right centre. First, the tackle where they tackled underneath the ball with Jaden Sewer, he went through and they peeled us short the second time as well. We're just totally out of neck.
Yeah.
Well, they moved Stephen Crichton to the other side, and it did stem the bleeding, but the damage was done.
Yeah. I don't know why it took them so long to leave the half at centre when they had mobile back rowers they could have played at centre to defend there, and eventually they brought Crichton over, but like you said, it was just way too late. Question just before we move off to Elite, how long do you think he's going to get suspension wise?
I think it'll count the fact that he got sent off on such a big occasion. I reckon he'll get 2 or 3 weeks.
Only 2 or 3 weeks. Wow.
I reckon that's 2 or 3.
For a send-off in State of Origin.
Yeah. I reckon he'll probably get 2 or 3. Or
So I thought you were going to say 6.
No, I reckon he'll get 4 at most.
Jesus, okay.
Yeah.
That's better than I thought.
Okay, you tell me, what do you think?
I thought it was going to be minimum. I think they're going to, to send someone off, I think they're going to get a minimum 6 weeks.
So oftentimes they've shown this year that if you do get sent off,
they'll
take that, they'll lessen it, given the punishment you've already had to serve. Probably, 3 or 4 weeks is my hunch.
Yeah, okay.
The other thing, Coop, let's talk some really key moments around kicking. And in big games, the vital importance of what you do with your attacking kicks. The consequences of getting it right and the consequences of getting it wrong. Right? And I'll give you an example, Queensland's first try. Early on, when we were sitting there watching the game, myself, you and Jack, and we're watching the New South Wales, I know it's only the early sets, we're winning the yardage battle.
Yeah.
We're looking really good. We're on the front foot, got our tails up. It's an attacking set, and suddenly, like Nico last tackle does a little rush left foot kick, and it sits, one bounce too long over the dead ball line. 7 tackles set to Queensland. Suddenly everything changes. The momentum of the contest and ascendancy goes immediately to Queensland.
Yeah.
They march down the field and they score.
Yeah.
It just shows you, they say rugby league a game of inches, sports a game of inches. That's just a perfect example of it.
Oh, yeah.
You've just got to get it right. And New South Wales' first try, alternately, they go down. They're on the attack again. Nico does a lob kick, gets it right. Val Holmes knocks the ball on, and then Jerome ends up putting a kick through in the next set, and we score.
Yeah.
It just shows you just the importance how you've got to get that right. I reckon mentally, it's such a big switch when you're on the attack and you're going, here we go, and all of a sudden it's a 7 tackle set. You've got to turn. You've got to run back 30 metres. They're all of a sudden on the front foot coming at you.
Yeah.
It literally 7 tackle sets. They just change contests.
They change everything. And you can get away with it in a normal NRL game. You might not be up against, a team that makes you pay for it straight away. They might make you pay for it 10 minutes down the track. You get into a long arm wrestle after a 7 tackle set and you're under the pump. But Queensland, with how good a side they've got, Daly Cherry-Evans, and they just march down there. 5th tackle, he runs it on 5th out of dummy half, throws it back inside to Benny Hunt, and they score. That's the ultimate consequence. That's as bad as it gets.
Jeez, I mean, you played with Daly. I'll tell you what he's brilliant at. Is that little scoop he does.
Yeah.
Where he gets up there, he just scoops and goes. How many opportunities, how many things does he create from just that little pick up from dummy half and just go for a little wander down a cul-de-sac?
Well, he'd do the same thing sometimes on short sides at training. He'd just call it, even when there's nothing on, just get it, throw a dummy, and then just cut back against the markers and start scooting back across the other side of the field. And something would just always happen from it.
Yeah.
And it was always weird trying to defend against it because I was like, what does he see? How is he so hard to stop in it? He's just got this innate ability when he's got the footy to just make people miss and make people he's really good at deceiving where he's going to go, and he's really hard to defend with it.
You said on the field he's not a big talker. He's just a visual player.
Yeah.
Watches and reacts.
Yeah. Doesn't call a heap. He doesn't plan. I think that's what I mean. I come from a system at Storm originally when people were planning 3 things ahead. Ches he lives in that play the ball in that moment, And you see that when he gets into dummy half, sometimes you'll just look up, there's one marker, throws a little dummy, goes down the short side and just throws a little bit of a Hail Mary, and it just ends up in the right place all the time.
Now, in a second, we're going to talk about who the best players on the field were. Just another moment. Again, Daly Cherry-Evans, just his instinct. You know, it was rugby league's version of a boxing counterpunch. We're in the second half. We kicked out. Nico kicks downfield. It looks like it's going to be a 40-20. Xavier Coates scoops it, throws it back in. Honestly, we're a millimetre away from a 40-20. And Queensland get the ball. All of a sudden, you know, we're really coming at it defensively. We almost exhale. And just take a bit of a breath. Meanwhile, Daly just gets the ball and goes wham.
Yeah.
Counter punches, nails a 40-20.
I think that play, I had that written down as my biggest moment. That play epitomised the game on the night. Like, Nico sort of half catches him napping, kicks down. Xavier Coates, a huge effort to get back, sort of feels it coming, just gets there with an inch to save it. And then, like you said, 4 plays later, Ches kicks it, and you know, the difference in effort between, and it's something that we always have said, Queensland just have these effort areas where they blow us off the park. Zach Lomax misses his job, misses the 40-20 by 5 metres in comparison to Xavier Coates, who really worked hard and got back there. Like, it's just, it just shows. And I hate to say to wrap up Queensland because we always do it every year, but
it splits our family, as we know.
Those efforts, they're just like, that's what wins in the game every single time. Like, yeah, we sometimes on paper we've got more talented side, but we don't have players like that who have. Sometimes we don't have the players who make those efforts.
And you're right, Zach Lomax was outstanding on debut.
Yeah.
But you look back at that moment, that was just a little moment where you go in an Origin game and go, man, this is quick. Just going to take a second here. And he goes, gotcha.
Well, it's the difference. I remember Billy Slater saying, like, that's the difference between an NRL game and a State of Origin game, where you can do all the flashy stuff in an NRL game and then you can kind of have a breather and get your breath back and just sort of not admire what you just did, but just go, all right, like, I just did that. Now what can I do next? Whereas in Origin, it's like you have to be so present in the moment and just forget about what you've just done, because if you don't and you start admiring what, you know, a try you just scored or something good you just did, you have moments of lapses in concentration.
We said about the New South Wales coaching staff we're just too slow to react to the send-off. Right, let's flip the other side of the coin with Queensland, right? Reece Walsh goes off on the field. Hamiso goes to fullback. Billy Slater goes at the back of the coach's box, hops in the lift, goes down onto the field, grabs Hamiso and grabs him and says, mate, this is what I need from you, and away you go. Like, again, it's just that attention to detail.
Yeah.
And that touch he has with the players, that link he has with the players.
He's just so... Anybody who has heard him speak from a player's perspective, nobody, and I've said this before on the potty, nobody has ever, like, when he's come down to Melbourne training and spoken in an attack session, nobody has ever got the team training at the best like Billy Slater has at Melbourne. Like, when he used to come down, he'd used to come down once a week or once every couple of weeks, practicing sort of the stuff he was going to do for Queensland, and he would help us with detail on our attacking shapes. And everybody after the session said that is the best session we've ever done, attacking wise.
That's the thing, isn't it? About when it comes to football, right? When it comes to attack and what you do, it's not the bricks, it's the mortar.
No.
It's just the little things. Like when we, you know, there were times where, that time when he and Munster and that come and stayed here with us, and we went down the park and we're just doing some attacking stuff with Munster moving to 6 and him to 1. So we're sitting there and we're just working out a few little plays. And I said, got an idea for a play, boys. We'll call it a cappuccino. It's a double shot. We go boom, boom. And Billy went, yep, like it. He goes, Matty, but I'll tell you what we'll do. Instead of doing that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get Cameron to jump out this way, then I'll dip around there. And if Munster goes there, and I'm sitting there go, holy shit. Like, you know, he's taken something and then just added another 2 or 3 layers on top of it.
He's so detail. His detail is insane. What about you? Who are your best players?
Well, firstly, I'll say this, Queensland. Let's have a general talk. Let's break it, really simplify things. Why did Queensland win? Very fast team. They were very smart in how they exposed their numerical advantage on us. The other thing about Coop, their defence, right? Because, we're down to 12 men. But I tell you what, we had a lot of field position. and at stages we had a lot of football. They just kept turning us away.
Oh, yeah. A good example of that, Nico worked him over for a few sets and then put Spencer over. He should have scored this try, and Hammer just gets Hammer scored a hat-trick, like an outstanding game. He could have put the foot off the accelerator, but gets under Spencer Leniu and stops a certain try, in a very key part of the match. If we'd scored there, it would have just, put them under a little bit of pressure. And, it's just efforts like that
That's right.
really...
Occasionally we got up emotionally, like that time when Liam Martin hit Xavier on the kick chase, and then all of a sudden Payne Haas went and we got a turnover, and all of a sudden we're up, but they counter it. All of a sudden there's something else that'll happen. And
well, even Liam Martin, another big effort. He flew out and flogged Jermaine Hopgood, who then dropped it. And then we go, right, if we score a Jager try here, we might be a chance. 2 plays later, they come out, do the same thing, and we drop it. There's always just that they know when they need a big moment, and one of them always comes out.
Right, New South Wales, why did we lose? Well, the obvious one's Joseph Swadley. That's one of the biggest factors.
Yeah.
How we reacted slowly to it is one. Our attack. I thought our attack was poor. Our combinations, how we formed combinations, were poor. There was a lot of confusion around Isaiah Yeo. I know at Penrith he's got those combinations, everyone locked in, but oftentimes he was taking the ball and guys were just in wrong spots, and he ended up crabbing a little bit too sideways. And I thought our attack just skimmed across the surface of the Queensland defence. It just didn't penetrate.
I think that came with the fatigue of that. After Joseph got sent off, the 15 minutes after, everyone looked gassed. They all looked out on their feet. They'd just been doing everyone was working and a lot harder to cover for an extra man. And by the time we got possession, a lot of footy, there just wasn't a lot of detail on the shape, and we weren't having enough good quality cracks at them to actually pull them apart.
The question will be, before we talk about the 5 best players,
the
top 5 players in the field, the big thing will be who comes in for New South Wales. There'll be a big push for Mitchell Moses. I get that. I thought Nico, he got better as the game went on. He started to find more and more rhythm, but there will be a push for Mitchell Moses, no doubt about that. And I do think Dylan Edwards goes in for Teddy. I thought Teddy did some really good stuff, but I bring back to my original point with Dylan Edwards why I originally thought he should have went in. It just gives us change of formula.
Yeah, I think so. And Teddy had some really good moments, and then he had some moments that he wished he'd have back as well. Yeah. And like I said, I think Edwards has been the form bloke, and I think if there's got to be some little changes in the side. And I know that Suaalii thing, if he hadn't gone off, maybe the game goes a different way. But I think
here's
people coming back from injury as well. I'm not too sure.
Let me run something past you. Right? A couple of things. So if Suaalii cops a month, right, let's say he's unavailable for game 2, Latrell.
I think Latrell go on the left, Crichton on the right.
Mate, Latrell's a rock star.
Yeah.
Mate, pick your rock stars. Pick someone who's there, and that Queensland are going to look at and go, here we go.
Yeah.
So if Latrell can get out this weekend, put in a big performance, well, you know what? Forget about that. I know he'll elevate himself.
And he's the kind of guy that he would lift knowing that they need him. Yeah. He's like game 1 loss. Latrell would love that challenge of I need to come in and I need to play my best because the team needs that. He would love that.
I'm certain they'll bring him in.
Yeah.
There'll be a bit of stuff around Burton, but I just think, what do they say? Cometh the hour, cometh the man. It's set for Latrell. To another way going forward into the future, I'm getting off the beaten track just to hear it for a second, but just go with me. I was talking to Jack about it the other day, and I said, I tell you what, if Bronson Cherry's still playing the sort of football he is and improving as much as he has when he's come back and doing the same thing next year, I tell you what, next year, I'm talking about next year, but I mean, I'm just giving the bloke a rap. I think he's a player into the future that we'll look at in the centres. But
agreed.
Our best players, I thought Cameron McGuinness he was in his first stint in the first 20, 25 minutes. I thought in the first 20 minutes he was just about the best player on the field.
Yeah.
His foot speed, it just shows you the benefit of speed and footwork through the middle of the field.
Yeah, agreed. I thought that as well.
Reece Robson, I thought busted his gut.
Yeah,
I thought he was really, really gutsy.
Is he in your top 5, is he?
No. This is just us talking generally at the moment.
Give us your top... did you have your top 5?
I'll just talk about New South Wales for a second. Okay, I thought Liam Martin was strong. You know what you're going to get with Liam Martin. I thought he was strong. I thought Angus Crichton was good. Thought he did. Zach Lomax excellent on debut, and I thought Spencer Leniu was brilliant on debut.
Yeah.
Spencer Leniu, mate, how that's that fire and his passion.
Anyone else you want? Who else?
I'm just talking here about.
All
I'm
right.
saying who was good for New South Wales.
Now give us your top 5 of the game. I want to hear your top 5. I don't want to hear you rapping everyone. I want to hear your top 5.
Look, just give me a break. I'm just trying to be a little bit positive here, okay, around us. Okay. I've put, number 5, okay, number 5 down to number 1. Look, I've got a tie at number 5. I've got Zach Lomax, Spencer Leniu. Okay, that's the Newcastle, the New South Wales contribution.
Yeah.
Lomax, very, very good on debut. Mate, just a couple of times, 4 or 5 times in the game, took back-to-back runs coming out of yardage.
Yeah, he got through a lot of work.
Good under the high ball. Did some really good stuff. Good debut.
Yeah. And Leniu he's always good. He's just a pocket rocket. He just gave him and Haas, I think, gave a couple of times really flat-footed, and they just went charged through the middle, got us a lot of ruck speed. So, yeah.
Ben Hunt.
Yeah, he's outstanding.
Ben Hunt. Like, there's certain blokes, when you talk about the greatest Origin players, like, Queensland or New South Wales Origin players, you automatically go, okay, Wally Lewis. You go, Alan Langer, Gene Miles, Mal Meninga, Cameron Smith, Billy Slater, Greg. You don't think of Ben Hunt, right? I'll tell you, mate, you have a look at his record. Every single time in vital moments in big Origin games, mate, he's the bloke that always aims up.
Yeah.
He's a great player.
Yeah.
Like the Dane Gagai, he got 2 Wally Lewis medals from the wing. He's a guy that'll go down as one of the great Queensland players that don't immediately come to mind. Ben Hunt's another one.
Yeah.
He and Harry, that 1-2 punch they got.
It's the best. It's the best 1-2 punch ever. I think it's the best. Particularly in Origin, they just feed off each other so well, and it just disrupts the New South Wales pack up so much.
And our plan for Harry Grant didn't work. When you went and you brought him around the house and you gave him the flu and it just didn't work.
Spitting in his mouth.
Spit, mate. Yes.
Who's number 3?
Number 3, I've gone Pat Carrigan.
Yep.
Carrigan, if you look at his stats, I reckon he probably made, I think Jack, he could probably have 40 odd tackles, Jack, and nearly 200 metres.
Yeah.
And Carrigan's one of those blokes. He just gets about his work so easily. You don't a lot of times you see him at the end of a game and look at the stats and go, my God, he's just so consistent.
Yeah. You almost don't notice him now because he just does. It's just normal. It's literally just normal to Paddy now what he does out in that field. Who's your number 2?
And I thought the other blokes, Ruben Cotter's always good too, mate. He's powerhouse. Lindsay Collins was well, but my number 2 is Daly Cherry-Evans.
Yeah.
He got the TV man of the match. We spoke before, but he's just all-round influence.
Just the old warhorse, mate. He just, even that intercept he took at the end of the game and then just, first tackle, just decided to kick it for X to seal the deal on the game. He's just a freak.
How old is he? Is he 36?
35. He's just
How long is he going to play for?
I don't think he's playing the best he's ever played. This
agree.
is as good as his peak years in his peak age. He's playing the best foot he's ever played. So I can't see why, unless injury stops him or he just can't be bothered anymore. But I reckon he'd play for at least another 2 years.
Jeez, you must be proud you taught him a lot.
Yeah, I just taught him how to relax. Frankie,
my number 1, mate.
Yeah.
Hammer Sar.
Yeah.
The hammer was incredible. 3 tries, 1 try saver on Spencer Leniu, and the other one a try assist with the Ben Hunt try towards the end there.
Yeah.
I'll give him the try assist on that. If you remember, New South Wales on the attack, Hudson Young sort of puts a little speculator through, hits the post. The ball's a bit of a 50-50. He comes through, scoops it up, throws it to Murray Tuolangi, who makes a sort of half run, and kickstarts a set of 6, and Ben Hunt goes.
He was just always there to clean. He's just always there. His speed and his anticipation. He's always there to clean up scraps, off kicks. Yeah, there was a couple of high balls there sometimes when New South Wales just put it up, had blokes running through with their hands around, and he just got up and so much confidence, just got up and took it in big moments. It's like he's magical.
If you know what I mean? No, but there are certain players that just have a magic about them. He's one of them.
Yeah. My top 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 5, I had Liam Martin, actually.
Yeah.
Just a lot of big moments, I think, that he had that kind of got the boys back into the game. Unfortunately, didn't get a result, obviously. Number 4, Stephen Crichton. I thought very underrated.
Awesome.
On the day. Like, I know they wrapped up, but some of his one-on-one tackles and efforts to really, when he went over to that right edge, he really saved the day, because it could have been 40-6 at halftime.
I'm just having a think. In my time of rugby league, I can't remember a better defensive centre. I mean, there was Chris Mortimer, who was like, they used to put him on Wally quite a bit. He was a great defensive centre, but Crichton's another level.
Crichton's got everything. Crichton can take intercept, like his anticipation with intercepts. He knows when to jam, he knows when to hold, and he's big, long, and wiry. And those guys are just so hard to get past. The only other person in the current NRL who probably has that similar is Campbell Graham.
Yeah.
He's got that. He's just a defensive rock where as soon as you get in the vicinity, he rarely misses tackles one-on-one.
True that.
Number 3, I was with you. I had Paddy Carrigan, just consistent. We basically had the same. Number 2, Daly Cherry-Evans. What a freak. Kicking game was outstanding. And then number 1, of course, how could you go past the hammer? I mean, like we just said, 3 tries, a couple try savers. He was just everywhere. And he wasn't even the first choice fullback. I mean, does this put in Billy Slater's mind that maybe Hammer is the fullback?
No, he won't.
You don't reckon?
He just, I think Billy just sees so much of himself in Reece Walsh. I reckon Reece is like his project.
Oh, yeah.
And look, Hammer, so he can have that sort of impact, whether it be the centre or the wing. He just roams around the field.
Yeah, the boys do say that in Origin camps, Billy is like just so hands on with Reece. Like, not that he doesn't give anyone else time, but he goes out of his way to really go. The boys like he's just his favourite. He just loves Reece.
And I reckon Billy just knows how to keep him focused.
Yeah,
it's really important. Let me think. I was going to ask you something there. It just slipped my mind for a second. Have you met the Hammer?
Yes, I have met the Hammer.
Is he? Because he doesn't do a lot of media stuff. Is he a good guy?
He's a champion. Well, there's a prank that's going to roll on Fox. It filmed up in January that I was a dolphin trainer and we prank the Dolphin boys and Hammer was there. And that was I'd met him a couple times, but that was one time when I really got chatting with him. Champion bloke, really fun. Actually, very funny.
Yeah, it's always funny bloke.
Yeah, very funny bloke, undercover funny man. So good bloke, and you could just tell like the boys just love. You can just tell everyone in that team loves him, like wherever he plays.
Coop, what do you think? We go to Melbourne. We need to win to keep the series alive. Look, I'm confident we can. I saw enough in the effort. You can't underestimate losing a vital player like that and what it did to our defensive line. I understand, like Queensland were fantastic. I just think desperation. There'll be a little bit of tinkering here and there. One thing Madge is good at, Coops, just hear me out on this. One thing Madge is very good at is recognising areas that they've got to fix up to fix a football side. I'll take you last year to the Pacific Championships at the end of the year. I believe, was it Australia that really gave the Kiwis a bit of a flogging first game, and then Madge goes away, and of course they played the Aussies in the final, and they beat them 30-0, record margin against Australia. So one thing Madge is very good is recognising and addressing the problems. I look at me, I'm just swimming in blue. I don't think I'm being naive or, overly optimistic. I think we'll win in Melbourne.
As much as I want New South Wales to win, I think Queensland they're just too good. They're just too good right now. And I think with the injuries New South Wales have got, I don't think they're going to turn it around in game 2.
Oh, mate, let me tell you, don't let your uncle hear you saying that.
He'll be fine.
He'll just write you out of the will.
No. I think he's got enough child support to pay.
Oh, wow.
Sorry,
you're really picking at the scab there. Now, listen, man. What time, mate? It's nearly midnight for us. You got to do Cole and Jackie O in the morning. How you feeling, Ticket Man? You okay?
Pretty tired, man.
Righto.
Thanks.
Go and get some sleep.
Tired, man.
Bye.